So we have this person driving home from her commute from work. So we know that she drives 30 miles an hour for the first 15 minutes. So on the horizontal axes, we are in 15-minute increments, or a quarter of an hour, because we're measured in hours here. So we're going to be going 30 miles an hour for the first 15 minutes. And then it says we go 60 miles an hour for another 30 minutes. So we got to go from here and go 30 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour for 30 minutes. Then she gets off the road and she has to stop and wait and not go anywhere for 15 minutes. And then she goes ahead and finishes her commute for 15 minutes right here. So this is what our velocity situation would look like. Now, what would be going on with distance? Well, there's a couple ways you could look at it. You could say, well, I'm starting out at a distance of 0. After 15 minutes, a quarter of an hour, if I go rate times time equals distance, 30 miles an hour for a quarter of an hour, you could say after a quarter of an hour, I'm at 7.5. Or you could say, well, I know that my distance shows up on my velocity curve being the area underneath my curve. So you could find the area of this curve, 30 miles an hour times 1/4 of an hour, and you get your 7.5. Now, we could also go ahead and take a look at the next part here. So, as we look at that, we could do the area underneath of our curve again, which would be half an hour times 60 is 30. So we got to add on to our initial 7.5, and then we got to go from here 30 more up. So that would be 37.5. Then we got to find our area here. While we're not going anywhere, we have no height. So if you're looking at your area there, it's just a line, and lines don't have height. So we're not changing our distance. Our distance is staying the same. So then we got to go ahead and take a look at that last. If we do area underneath of our curve again here, we would just have a rectangle that's 30 miles an hour high times our quarter of an hour wide, which once again gives us 7.5. So we got to take what we had down here, how much we increased, 7.5 over 15 minutes, and we got to put it up here. And so then we end up getting up to a height of 45 for our total distance.